Happy Tuesday, everybody in North Central Washington and the greater Wenatchee Valley, and anybody who's watching us anywhere via the World Wide Web, because we stream. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Happy Tuesday, 29th day of October, 2019. I'm Dan Kuntz, your host, and as you might imagine, we have a jam-packed show for you today. We have a 5-pound show and a 4-pound bag, but we'll do our very best to get it in there, including the latest on the big story, the fire out in the Rock Island area that broke out shortly after 6 o'clock last night that a lot of fire districts responded to. So far, the good news is, to our knowledge, only one structure has been lost. A barn burned. No injuries have been reported. Some of the evacuations have been lifted. We'll have the latest on that fire when we get to the news here in just a couple of minutes. Very chilly weather forecast, 25 degrees outside of our studios in downtown Wenatchee. We're done with the wind. That wind really got going last night. I'll get you some details, but be prepared for some very chilly weather for the next couple of days and a gradual warming trend. Halloween looks fantastic for you ghosts and goblins out there. Forecast details are coming up. We'll have the latest sports, including a Seahawks update. We're going to be in Kashmir tonight to do a soccer game, not just any soccer game. The two best teams by far in the Caribou Trail League in girls soccer, the Kashmir Bulldogs and the Cascade Kodiaks, will be doing battle at Kashmir. First place on the line in the CTL. We will be there tonight, hopefully in long underwear, covering that game with Sebastian Moraga and Matt Wiseman. We're looking forward to that. Also, we have all the stuff that you're used to. Everybody's entitled to Mike Manotti's opinion. We got the obscure holiday. We got some birthdays. We also have Today in History. And we continue our week-long series of profiles of the candidates running for public office. And today you're going to get to know the two candidates running for Leavenworth mayor. As you know, the two-term incumbent is not running for a third term. That has opened up the mayoral seat for the city of Leavenworth. Scott Bradshaw is running against Florea to take over the reins of the city of Leavenworth, and we'll have that interview, that conversation, I should say, with Jefferson Robbins and those two gentlemen coming up in the back half of the program. If you're ready to go, I believe we're ready to go. At a couple minutes after the hour, let's take you around the valley with our Valley View cameras. Some traditions never die, and that is a cross cam brought to you by our friends at Sky-Fi, Localtel's high-speed wireless internet, which is a really cool deal. You can have high-speed internet and not have fiber run to your house. The cross camera is tilted up, beautiful cobalt blue sky. As we look out over the Wenatchee Valley and the East Wenatchee area proper, that's a 4K camera, 4 times the resolution as a regular high-definition camera. That's why it looks so blingy and so cool. We're still a ways away from sunrise. 7:40 will be sunrise this morning. Sunset tonight, 5:49. That'll buy us 10 hours and 9 minutes of daylight. By the time this week is over, we'll be under that 10-hour mark, and then it changes again, because remember, daylight saving time goes away. We go back to standard time in the wee small hours of Sunday. Even though the voters don't like it and the West Coast doesn't like it, Congress has not signed off on permanent daylight saving time yet. I wish they would. Camera number 2. Where are we off to, Megan? We're going to take a look at the Rock Island area. This is where the fire broke out yesterday. And as you can see, it looks pretty quiet right now. It looks very quiet indeed. Now, you can juxtapose that with the PTZ footage we were sending via our Facebook page last night that had a lot of people looking at it. Right now, I don't see a flame at all. That is good news there. We're going to have some very dramatic footage coming your way of that fire coming up. It's being called the Wells fire, for lack of a better term. So right now, doesn't look like anything at all. Camera number 3. Where are we off to, Megan? That is, she threw me a loop. Oh, let me think. I'm looking. Is that the monitor camera? Is that Steins? What is that? That's Steins Hill. It's dark. It's hard for me to tell. That's the Steins Hill camera looking to the west towards the Dryden and Peshastin area, with the foothills of the Cascades way off in the distance. The morning commute so far, so good. It's going smooth, but boy, they had a pretty bad accident in the Rondo area yesterday. We'll talk about that when we get to news here in a few minutes. Camera number 4 is, I don't know what I'm looking at. Oh, that's Black Mountain. So good morning, Leavenworth down there. My good friend Jefferson Robbins, one of my favorite new employees, lives in Leavenworth, and he said, a lot of people showed up to Leavenworth over the weekend to celebrate Oktoberfest, not knowing that Oktoberfest was already done. Which is probably just fine for the local bars and taverns in Leavenworth, because those people were showing up to partake in adult beverages, and without the tents and the partying going on, they probably just went to their local bars and taverns and celebrated that way. Yeah, Oktoberfest is a done deal. check your calendar next time, people, before you go to Leavenworth to celebrate Oktoberfest, especially since it's done. Is that a little bit of snow I see on top of Blag? Could be. Wouldn't be surprised. That camera's up there a ways. Good morning, Leavenworth. All right, that's our tour around the valley. At 5.5 minutes after the hour, let's take a look at your very chilly weather forecast. Yeah, it's cold. It's 25 degrees. Going to stay cold. Of course, in the wake of yesterday's passage that came flying through the valley, gave us strong winds and kicked up that fire over there on the east side. It's going to be very cold. We're going to get 40, 41. No real wind, by the way. The wind has all but done. Look at the overnight low tonight, right around 20. Now, the record overnight low for this date is in the teens, so it doesn't look like we're going to get to that record overnight low, but it's still plenty cold for everybody. We're a good 10 degrees below normal. In fact, ironically enough, yesterday's high, 54 on Monday, was exactly normal. Our normal high for October 28th, it was supposed to be 54 degrees. We hit that right on the knob. 20 for the overnight low tonight. When we warm up just a little bit, 42 on Wednesday, 47 on Thursday for your ghosts and goblins. So we do have a warming trend coming our way, but all of those highs that you see for today, tomorrow, Thursday, Friday are all below normal. And then we get back to normal on Saturday and Sunday. In fact, we're in for a very pleasant weekend, but a very chilly overnight low tonight and Wednesday and Thursday below freezing. So get that defroster up and running again. It's better now than it is in some locations. I mean, they're thinking about the high in Spokane today, barely 35 or 36, so we got it good in many respects. Just lots of sunshine, lots of cool temperatures. By the way, they're a little worried about the possibility of an inversion by the end of the week. We got a high-pressure ridge that's being set up. It's going to trap that cold air. That's why it's so chilly. The cold air that came in has nowhere to go now, but the lid will be on, and that means, of course, the smoke comes up, and it comes right back down again. There's no place for it to go. So they're a little worried about the air quality towards the back half of the week. We'll keep a close eye on that. We're going to take a break at 7.5 minutes after the hour and come back with your Tuesday morning news. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We're broadcasting live this morning from Studio 1 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Life channel.
My first experience with CVCH, I had to come in with my daughter by myself with a cut in my hand that required stitches. And the care and compassion of CVCH was really significant, that they took the care and compassion and made me feel more as a human instead of just a patient there. The care they have for their community all around, inside and outside the clinic, is what I feel like is different. And that's what makes me want to come back to CVCH and recommend them to my friends and family.
How do you know when it's time to go to Boswell's Furniture? When you know the look you love, the colors you want, but need a little design help to bring it all together. With Boswell's complimentary design service, Glenn, Buffy, and Teresa guide you until your vision becomes reality. More styles, more fabrics, and more choices of quality home furnishings fill Boswell's expansive 2-story showroom, so you can see it and feel it before you buy. Come into Boswell's and explore the endless possibilities of home furnishings. Boswell's on Easy Street. It's closer than you think.
9 minutes after the hour, we just dropped a couple of degrees, 22 outside of our studios. We'll top off just about 40 degrees, so get ready for a very chilly day, then a gradual warming trend, and we'll be back up to normal temperatures with lots of sunshine by the time we get to the weekend. But it's only Tuesday. Pack a little patience. Here's us making headlines. Of course, obviously, we're talking about the crews from multiple agencies that went to work last night. That's a live shot of the Rock Island area. That is a complete 180-degree difference from what we were looking at last night at about 8 o'clock on our Facebook. You can see the brown black area there above the ridge. That's where the fire was last night. Multiple agencies tackling that wind-whipped brush fire that broke out last night near Rock Island. We do have some rather dramatic footage. There were some level 1 evacuation notices in the area. That may, of course, be prepared. This footage, by the way, courtesy of Eric Grandstrom, who went up on the Eastmont bench on the 1100 block of Wells Street, looking down a ravine there. Nicely done, Eric. First call of the fire came out at 6:11 last night. The fire started near South Wells and 8th Street Southeast above Pear Lane. No injuries have been reported. The only structure loss is reported to be a barn on Webb Place. Now, officials believe the fire may have started after the remains of an orchard burn were ignited by the strong winds. Kay McKellar, spokesperson for Douglas County Fire District Number 2, said that has not yet been confirmed. Between 6:50 and 8:15 last night, winds out of the northeast were blowing at a consistent 30 to 35 miles an hour. There were gusts near 50 miles an hour at times for about an hour and a half period last night during the fire. Crews from Douglas County Fire Districts Number 2, 3, and 4, along with Chelan County Fire Districts Number 1 and 6, and the Kashmir Fire Department, they all responded to this wildfire. Now, in addition, Chelan County Fire District Number 1 responded to a brush fire at milepost number 7 on the Malaga-Alcoa Highway on the other side of the Columbia River, but we don't have any information this morning on whether those two fires are related. But as you see by the latest PTZ footage, it looks like that fire is all but gone. A convicted burglar who spent almost 2.5 years in prison-based drug rehab is suspected of stealing firearms from homes in Wenatchee and Dryden. Chelan County Sheriff's detectives say 28-year-old Cameron Michael Darnell and a partner broke into a home on North Dryden Road back on October 9th and stole 7 rifles and a shotgun. He's also charged in a burglary and theft of a pistol from a Wenatchee home. He was actually caught, allegedly on videotape, breaking through a pet door. Moses Lake Police arrested Darnell October 16th during an attempted theft at the local Walmart there. He was also wanted for questioning of multiple thefts and burglaries in Yakima, Douglas County, Union Gap, and other areas. Fire is in the news, and some firefighters from our neck of the woods are heading to California to battle all of those blazes that are burning down there. Washington's Emergency Management Division pulled together 7 task forces from 31 different fire agencies. Chelan County Fire District Number 1 Chief Brian Brett said a total of 9 local personnel are ready to head to California if they're needed.
Chelan County Fire District 1, Chelan County Fire District 3 and 7, all mobilized Type 3 engines with crews of 3 to head down there to California. Currently, they're in holding at the Sunny Slope Fire Station, awaiting final paperwork before they deploy, and they're going to rendezvous in Biggs Junction, Oregon, and meet up with Southeast Region Resources before they proceed down. And it is undetermined at this time which incident they're going to be assigned to. This is the 3rd time Chelan County Fire District 1 has participated in a mobilization down to California. Fortunately, we have the nice, cool winter breaks for us in our wildland season. Sadly, California doesn't seem to get those breaks, so we're always willing and eager to go help our partners.
Yeah, it's pretty bad in California. Last we checked, 66,000 acres have burned in Sonoma County, and the Getty Fire, which is just outside of Los Angeles, has destroyed homes and forced evacuations. This is the scene yesterday. Traffic backed up for quite some time outside of Orondo. This is late yesterday morning. A 2-vehicle collision. The Washington State Patrol says a 2018 Toyota RAV4 ran into the back of a 2007 Ford Edge as both vehicles were northbound on Highway 297. Now, the RAV4 then rolled several times. No serious injuries. Both lanes of the highway were finally reopened at about 1 o'clock yesterday afternoon. Well, Rocky Reach Dam has accidentally discharged more than 300 gallons of hydraulic oil into the Columbia River since June. The Chelan County PUD reported the spills to the State Department of Ecology. Oil leaks like these have led environmental groups to threaten lawsuits against the agency. Back in March, the PUD reached a settlement with the watchdog group Columbia Riverkeeper to step up its monitoring and permitting of hydraulic discharges. The PUD shut down one turbine for repairs after it spilled more than 200 gallons this previous summer. Well, of course, Saturday was Make a Difference Day in the Wenatchee Valley. Hundreds of volunteers, dozens and dozens of projects were being worked on. Here are some photos and a little snippet of all the good work that was done on Saturday. Make a Difference Day, a Wenatchee Valley tradition since the early 90s. And on a personal note to Margie and Laurel, thanks for the cookies. Much appreciative. They found a home. That's the news on this Tuesday morning, this very chilly Tuesday morning. Some of the stories we're working on for this evening's news. Here's Grant Olson.
Good morning, Dan. Coming up tonight on the NCW Life Evening News, we'll hear from local agencies who are coordinating homeless shelters for the needy this season. I'll have your very cold north central Washington weather forecast, and Eric Granstrom will have a preview of tonight's soccer action around our area. That and much more coming up tonight at 5, 6, and 10 on the NCW Life Evening News. Hope you join us then. Dan?
Thank you, Grant. We appreciate it. 17 minutes after the hour, fair skies, 22 degrees. Outside of our studios, the Arctic air is here to stay for most of this week. We'll get up to about 40 degrees, gradually warming up. We'll be back to normal by the time we get to the weekend as far as afternoon highs, but we're a little worried about air stagnation towards the end of the week. We'll keep a close eye on that. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we got sports. We have the obscure holiday. We have today in history, and we got birthdays. And don't forget to get a hold of us. You know how to do it. Give us a call. Pick up the telephone. You can go to your computer. Many people have those nowadays, including the World Wide Web, which is going to catch on. I'm on record for that. Send us an email, news@ncwlife.com. Go to our Facebook page and drop us a line there. We appreciate it. Or you can just go to our website, ncwlife.com. There's a Contact Us icon. Click on it, fill out the form, push send, and we love to hear from you, our viewers. Sports is 1 minute away. You're watching Wake Up on Wenatchee Valley, live this morning from Studio 2 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Life channel.
Of Apple Country sits Lone Pine Fruit and Espresso, a cozy cafe, a fabulous fruit stand, and an eclectic gift shop. Stop in for a hard cider, local brew, or an espresso. The cool, crisp air brings in a harvest of fresh veggies and fall fruits like pears, plums, and apples. Have lunch and choose the perfect pumpkin for your pie or porch. Celebrate the season with a trip to Lone Pine Fruit and Espresso.
My awesome is being able to share my passion for yoga. I found yoga in my mid-40s to help me kind of de-stress and calm down, and it actually changed my life. Washington Trust believed in me. I felt like, okay, they got my back. I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna go for it. It actually makes you feel like more brave. I do have a lot of awesome in my life.
What's your awesome? Whatever it is, we'll help you get there.
We're back on Wake Up in Wenatchee Valley, 19 minutes after the hour. Let's talk sports. The Houston Astros back home at Minute Maid Park, and they have two chances to take home the World Championship. The 115th World Series continues tonight. 5:07 will be the first pitch. Justin Verlander will take on Steven Strasburg. Verlander 0-6 in the World Series. Obviously, he would love to turn that around tonight. Houston leads the best-of-7 series 3-2 after taking 3 in a row in our nation's capital. Now, if Washington can pull off the win tonight and force a Game 7, it'll be the only time in the history of the World Series that the visiting team won each of the first 6 games. Through 5 games, this World Series marks only the third time that the road team has won each game. It happened back in 1996 with the Yankees and the Braves, and in 2005 between the White Sox and the Astros. Seahawks, they're back home, preparing to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That'll be Sunday at CenturyLink Field. Seattle finished the first half of the NFL season with a 6-2 record after knocking off Atlanta on Sunday. Coach Pete Carroll met with reporters Monday, confirmed that center Justin Britt suffered an ACL injury on his knees, and it's going to mean a major repair. Carroll was asked about the status of newly signed defensive back Quandre Diggs. He came over, of course, with that trade from Detroit, and tight end N. Dixon was coming off a knee injury.
Yeah, John, I think we're in solid shape of kind of being aware of what we're capable of doing and how we can play. In the basic area, special teams is firing pretty well for us. Looking for some help still in return game. We haven't had very many chances in returns. The running game seems pretty consistent with the ability to take it up another notch, I think. The protection stuff is doing all right. We're able to move the quarterback around, do a lot of things with Russ. Defensively, we're playing good up front in the running game, and we're staying on top, not giving up touchdown passes and all that. We need to be trying to get more aggressive and more of a factor on the intermediate stuff. And that will come from our combination of ways to put pressure on the quarterback. We have to get that going. That's probably the biggest area that we would like to improve and see if we can continue to grow there.
Carroll was asked to assess the Seahawks after their 6-2 opening half of the season. He says he's seen glimpses of what could be, but they're not there yet.
We're going to take him through the week and see. He had a hamstring that he came to us with, and he had played with it. But we just feel, and we've uncovered that we needed to take care of him to get him back fully. And so he'll be running around this week, and he was very controlled last week, and we'll see how far he can go. I can't say that he's for sure back yet for this weekend. He's going to go this week. We're bringing Ed back, and with the thought, give him a chance to practice with the chance to play. So we've worked him really hard leading up to this time, through his rehab and all, where he's been preparing for the workload, and very optimistic, that he could, if he can make it through the week. We got to see how he handles the workload. We don't know about that yet, of course, but his mindset is on playing.
That's obviously Coach Carroll talking about Quandre and Ed. Videos get mixed up sometimes. Of course, they host Tampa Bay this weekend, then they'll play Monday Night Football in San Francisco, and then they get the week off, the Seahawks. Let's take a look at what's coming up on the NCAA Life Channel schedule. Nobody gets the night off tonight. We'll be in Kashmir. The Bulldogs will host Cascade Caribou Trail League girls soccer. This is going to be a good one. Kashmir is 7-0 in league play, 11-3-1 overall. The Kodiaks are 6-1 in the Caribou Trail League, 9-5 overall. Sebastian Moraga, Matt Wiesen, and a cast of several will have the call. 6:30 tonight, right here on the NCAA Life Channel. Thursday night hockey features last Wednesday's birthday night game between the Wild and the West Kelowna Warriors. The home team celebrating Coach Bliss Littler's birthday will be at Wildcat Stadium. Coming up on Friday night, the Moses Lake Chiefs in town to take on the Eastmont Wildcats. Eric and Grant will be there to call all the action. They'll kick it off at 7 o'clock. And then on Saturday, the Eastmont girls soccer team host Moses Lake, the final game of the regular season. The Wildcats could clinch the Big Nine title with a win. Eric and Matt Wiesen will have the call 1 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. Speaking of soccer, let's check out the rest of the soccer schedule for today. Manson plays at Tenasket. Okanagan will host Chelan. They get going at 4. The CWAC District Tournament gets underway today. East Valley of Yakima will be at Ephrata. Quincy will be at Othello. They'll get going at 5 o'clock. As we mentioned, we'll have the Kashmir Cascade game live right here on the NCAA Live Channel at 6:30. At 7 tonight, you got Davis at Moses Lake and Wenatchee at Eisenhower. The Chiefs and Panthers battling for second place in the Big Nine in girls soccer. Volleyball course tonight. Antioch will host Easton at 5:30. Cascades on the road at Omak. Okanagan will host Chelan at 6:30. At 7, you got Ephrata at East Valley of Yakima. Quincy's at Othello. Davis will host Moses Lake. Wenatchee celebrates senior night with their final game at home against Ike. And finally, the Caribou Trail League District Cross Country Championships today at Walla Walla Point Park. The gun will sound at 2 o'clock this afternoon. I wonder if they still use guns. Anyway, that's just some of the games that people are playing on this Tuesday. The obscure holiday of the day today. Today is International Cat Day. Oh, look at the pretty kitties. International Cat Day. Fun facts about cats. Cats, of course, were idolized in the 14th century. That's when the plague, the bubonic plague, was being spread by rodents throughout Europe, and the cats took care of the rodents, and that kind of took care of the plague. So, in fact, it was against the law to even kill a cat in the 14th century. Cats were considered lucky, and still are considered lucky, by captains of vessels, of ships. In fact, there was a cat on the Mayflower, believe it or not. All breeds of cats are basically the same physically. They differ in their texture and color of their fur and in the color of their eyes. Outside of that, most cats, almost all cats, are genetically pretty much the same. Cats, of course, have extremely acute hearing and vision. Their vision at night is extraordinary. Cats are the only animals that purr, to my knowledge. Anyway, the cat is the only animal besides the camel and the giraffe that walk by moving their front and back legs on one side and then their front and back legs on the other side. That's how good their balance is. And finally, when a cat died in ancient Egypt, it was mandatory for the cat's owner to shave off his eyebrows to register grief. I've lost a couple of cats. I'm not shaving my eyebrows. I'm very proud of them. Happy National Cat Day, 26 minutes after the hour. Just a couple of items in Today in History that caught my eye. One of the greatest college upsets of all time. Tiny little Center College in Kentucky goes up to Harvard and they beat the Crimson. The final was 6-0. In 1950, the Associated Press called this game the greatest sports upset, not just in college football, but the greatest sports upset in the first half of the 20th century. The New York Times, a couple of years ago, called it the greatest upset in the first century of college football. ESPN named it the third biggest upset in the history of college football. Centre College was a tiny little nothing college, and Harvard was the power. In 1921, they had won 25 games in a row. That came to an end. By the way, on the 75th anniversary of this game, Centre College challenged Harvard to a rematch to celebrate the great upset. Harvard declined. Yeah, Centre College 6, Harvard 0. Happened on this date, October 29th, 1921. And this is the 90th anniversary of Black Tuesday. It's been going on for a while. The New York Stock Exchange started on October 24th, the previous Thursday, which was known as Black Thursday. A bunch of people poured a bunch of money in the stock market, propped it back up again for a couple of days, and then it started yeet, 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 yeet. Finally, the bottom fell out. On Tuesday, October 29th, 1929, 90 years ago today, the bull market came to an end. The Great Depression began on this date 90 years ago today. And finally, birthdays. They had a marathon of the joy of painting over the weekend on PBS. I couldn't keep my eyes off it. I said, to heck with football, I'm watching this show over and over and over again. Bob Ross, the television host, the painter, and the host of The Joy of Painting, was born in the state in 1942. We lost him way too young. He was only 52 when he died in 1995. He spent 20 years in the Air Force, mostly stationed in Alaska and then in Florida. And when there's nothing else to do, he took up painting. By his own estimation, Bob Ross completed more than 30,000 paintings in his lifetime. And if you're curious about what happened to all of those paintings, go to the New York Times website, go to the search engine, and just type in Bob Ross paintings, and you'll enjoy that story. It's fascinating. The great Bob Ross, born in the state in 1942. Richard Dreyfuss, the Academy Award-winning actor, is 72 years old today. He had a small little role in The Graduate, but his real breakthrough role was in American Graffiti, one of the great movies ever. Then, of course, Jaws, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. The Goodbye Girl is where he won his Oscar for Best Actor. Stand By Me, Always, What About Bob? Mr. Holland's Opus, Richard Dreyfuss, is 72 years old today. And happy birthday to the voice of Homer Simpson, Dan Castellaneta. Dan Castellaneta, the voice of Homer Simpson. Dope is 62 years old today. Homer Simpson is 39. And those are your birthdays. We're going to take a break. Wouldn't you know it, Mike Magnotti has an opinion. He's going to share it with you here in just a couple of minutes. Then we continue our week-long series of getting to know the candidates. If you have not voted yet and you live in the city of Leavenworth, you want to get to know the two candidates, Scott Bradshaw and Carl Florea, you'll have a chance to do that. They sat down with their very own Jefferson Robbins. That conversation coming up. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, live this morning from Studio 3 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Live channel.
My name is Brian Thorpe. I own Global Car Care in Wenatchee and have been here for about 25 years.
Brian started Global Car Care as Brian's automotive alternative on Orondo Street.
Some customers were following Brian since Brian's automotive time.
No, we're just grateful to be part of this community. This is where I grew up. We want to do our part to be a valuable part of this community. We want to thank you for trusting our business for 25 years.
They may not be from you, but they're a part of your family. For many reasons, not all children are being raised by their parents. Are you a family member who has stepped in to help raise grandchildren, nieces, or nephews? Whether court-ordered or not, Aging and Adult Care may be able to assist you with many needs. Kinship Care helps keep family and community ties together. Learn more about Kinship Care by contacting Aging and Adult Care of Central Washington, working together for a better quality of life for all.
Hey, this is Sean from The Walk, and we're doing a major remodel in Wenatchee. So come on up to Leavenworth and get your walk on. We'd be happy to see you up there. The Walkabout Grill, open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner, where eating out is eating healthy.
Hi, Stephen DeVilbiss here, Branch Manager of Beneficial and Home Care. We are an equal opportunity employer and we do not discriminate in employment or services. It is our mission to maximize our clients' physical health and sense of mental well-being while remaining in the comfort of their home. We are currently seeking professional caregivers who share our mission to help our clients live safely and comfortably at home. Call Beneficial and Home Care. Schedule your interview today. 509-663-7900.
If you want to work in IT, here's a tip. Employers value IT certifications. 91% say they play a key role in hiring. 72% require them for certain job openings. Improve your odds of getting the job. Enroll in the Computer Networking Systems program at Charter College. In 14 months, you could earn an associate degree and 6 IT certifications. Get started at chartercollege.edu/IT, where we work to get you to work.
Badger Mountain Brewing is proud to announce the grand opening of our new kitchen. Come try out our new menu featuring fabulous steaks, prime rib, gourmet burgers, and seafood grilled up by experienced meat master, Chef Galen Goodman. To complement your mouth-watering meal, Badger Mountain Brewing features 14 in-house crafted beers, an alcohol-free root beer infused with 11 different herbs and spices, 3 different ciders, and a great wine selection. Don't miss out on the best meats and the best brews down at Badger Mountain Brewing, located at 1 Orondo Avenue across the tracks from the Pybus Market. When you think of Doghouse Motorsports, you might think of motorcycles, but there's a lot more in this house. How about Honda power equipment? From snow blowers to lawnmowers to generators and even water pumps, Honda is the brand that sets the standards. Perhaps you need an ATV or UTV. The Doghouse has the largest selection anywhere. Did we mention watercraft and snowmobiles? And of course, we have motorcycles too. Back it up with terrific customer service and you have Wenatchee's best motorsports store 5 years running. Isn't it time for you to be in the Doghouse?
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog McNutty, and everybody's entitled to my opinion. Like I've said before, I'm a regular churchgoer, so I run into this guy who I used to see at church, and as I haven't seen him for a while, I asked him, where's he been? Is everything okay? He said, I stopped coming, and the reason was I've been going there to church for a year, and no one has ever invited me out to lunch. Now, what kind of reason is that? Was he going to church to arrange lunch dates? And what I should have asked him is, did you ever invite anyone to lunch? Wouldn't it be a good idea if maybe we should do unto others what we would have them do to you, rather than expect people to do to you just because you happen to be there? This is Mike Mad Dog McNutty, and that's my opinion.
Let Fitterers Furniture help you turn your dreams into reality with their exciting selection of quality furnishing and accessories. Whatever style you are looking for, you will find beautifully crafted furniture of exceptional value and the unmatched Fitterers customer service to make this shopping experience one you will keep coming back to. Make a point of visiting Fitterers Furniture in downtown Ellensburg.
Quality selection and service since 1896.
AC Checker has new owners who put customer service first. When you have to get there on time, call fast, friendly, reliable AC Checker, 663-TAXI. AC Checker has the industry's only on-time or it's free guarantee. Conditions apply. Call AC Checker, 663-TAXI to schedule your cab or schedule online at acchecker.com. Call American Classic Taxi, 663-TAXI. That's 663-8294.
We're here because of the children, because the children need to be protected. Their needs aren't being met.
They didn't ask for any of this stuff. It's not their choices that got them here.
The more adults that a child has that love them, the better off they are.
Children need a whole community to raise them. And if we can do any little thing, it makes a big difference in the child's life.
It's estimated that 1/3 of Americans do not have a financial plan. At D.A. Davidson, their advisors are working to change that because they understand the importance of planning for the future. At D.A. Davidson, they believe in partnering together to build a strategy tailored to your needs. They spend the time and have the knowledge to help keep your financial future on track. Let D.A. Davidson Financial Advisors of Wenatchee put the strength of advice to work for you.
Leavenworth is home to only about 2,000 people until the weekends and holidays, when tourists flood the boulevards. Almost 2 million people visit Leavenworth each year for food, fun, and a faux Bavarian experience. Its popularity has helped drive up the price and scarcity of housing and helped generate traffic headaches for the year-round residents. Mayor Sherry Farivar announced she'll step down after this term, leaving 2 competitors, Scott Bradshaw, a City Planning Commission member, and Carl Florea, a low-income housing advocate, in the race to lead Leavenworth for the next 4 years.
I'm a former Lutheran pastor, came to Leavenworth in 1985 as the pastor of the Lutheran church there in town. I've got the pleasure of being able to have a career that also includes my passion, which is community building, community sustaining. That's what my interest is, that's what my passion is. People, love those interactions. And so I've been able to have a whole career, both as a pastor, but also then as the founder and director of Upper Valley Mend, Meeting Each Need with Dignity, and being able to direct that organization and getting into affordable housing and being able to do that. I've also served on various boards. I've been on the school board, Cascade School District, years ago, and when my kids were in school. And then also on the Planning Commission, which Scott has now been on, and have served in that, also 2 times on the City Council. I've been on the Housing Authority for City of Wenatchee, Chelan County, and also Link Transit. So I've, kind of run the gamut.
I'm a Leavenworth native, born and raised. Grew up in Leavenworth. I was there before it became the Bavarian Village. So I've pretty much seen it all there. As growing up in Leavenworth, my parents were part of the initial groups that helped get things started. My mom was a member of the Vesta Women's Group, and my dad participated in a lot of the building remodels. And when you grow up in a little town like that, as soon as you can, you want to leave because you think there's something great out there. I very quickly found out that Leavenworth is a very great place to live, but it took me a long time to get back. During that time, I had a stint in the U.S. Navy. I went back to college and got a degree as a civil engineer. I'm now a registered professional civil engineer in Washington State. And I worked for utilities for many, many years, managing and directing engineering and operations. I worked for Chelan PUD. I also worked for Puget Sound Energy, and I also worked for the City of Palo Alto, California, managing their 5 utilities that they have down there. During that time, I spent a lot of time dealing with the public process, understanding the public process and how it works, and became very knowledgeable in how to accomplish things through the public process. I was able to retire about 7 years ago from my position at Puget Sound Energy, and I came home. Home is, it's a great place. And I felt like it's time to give something back. I'm a member of the Leavenworth Planning Commission, like Carl just said. Also, I'm a member of the Cascade Medical Center Foundation, which we work really hard to help the Cascade Hospital with their needs as far as equipment and other things.
Does the current vacation rental ordinance, do you think, need to be tightened, relaxed, left alone? Have we achieved equilibrium, or is there more to be done on that topic?
Well, right now, the Planning Commission worked really hard with the community to put together the rules that talk about bed and breakfast, and we've tightened it up such that a person that wants a nightly rent, have a nightly rental, must have someone on the property 24/7 while they're in the process of renting out their rooms. I think we've tightened it up pretty much as we can, but what I'd like to do is say, let's give it a chance. Let's take a couple of years and see how it's working. So far, I've heard a lot of positive about it. I haven't heard a lot of negative. I know that outside the city limits, there's been quite a controversy about noise and parking and other things, but I believe inside the city limits of Leavenworth, we've done a pretty good job of tightening it up, and I'd like to see how it's going to work.
Well, I'm just very thankful that they did decide that overnight rentals of an empty home is not going to work in Leavenworth. And I think that was a huge, huge thing. Because basically this kind of gets at the heart of, I think, what our problem is, and that is we're losing the residential community. One sale at a time, it's going towards second homes. And it had been going towards those kind of overnight rentals. And we're not in a sustainable position for the community, for the residential community. I'd say what I want to go further, and you'll see that, I testified at the county level, all those homes that are vacant and not, it's a different scenario. If somebody's living in their home and using that, that's a second income, that's a whole, because you've got a resident there. But it's all these homes that are basically vacant that are only used as kind of party homes that have been the problem. And I think those need to be regulated. They need to be planned for. People need to know where they're going to be located, because you've got residential areas in the county right next to Leavenworth where there's just lots and lots of those empty homes that aren't serving as residences, that again, there's no kind of accountability or whatever, and we're losing our neighborhoods. Leavenworth's bigger as a community than just the city limits. It includes a lot more than that. And as mayor, I think we've got to work with not just the arbitrary line that goes around Leavenworth, but with that whole community, which is our community.
What steps do you think the city can take to encourage affordable housing within city limits to make sure that people aren't priced out of the market?
Yeah, well, people are already priced out. And if, I hate to use the word crisis because it gets overused, but we are at a crisis. If we're going to sustain Leavenworth as what I believe in, which is community, which is a whole community, which means all income levels, rubbing elbows with each other, all ethnic, all of those, the diversity, all ages are being able to. We're slowly becoming a retirement community for wealthy West Siders to be able to come over and live. And I have nothing against that. I've got both of my neighbors actually are part-timers, and they're wonderful people. It's not about, trying to find a bad person here. It's about what's sustainable for a community, a working community. And you brought it out, the people that work in Leavenworth can't afford to be there. And it's not just the hospitality industry anymore. There's many that have signed on to a letter addressing to the city that are both from the hospitality but also the hospital. And he mentioned, needing to keep their number one issue is housing for their workers. The school district, the same thing. Housing is, in my mind, the number one issue. And that's really, I've got a background in affordable housing. The only thing affordable that's been built in Leavenworth in the last 30 years are the two small projects we did, 2 10-unit affordable, permanently affordable home ownership. And that's all that's been done. Well, as you know, there's many more jobs that have been created than those, and the need is far greater, and we do need to address it. And I do have some plans to address it. But it's going to take multifaceted. It's going to take all of us working together, the businesses, the city, and we can get into more of what that plan is. But I do think we have got to get beyond just talking about affordable housing. You can plan, you can zone, you can do all of that, but in the end, you may just be creating more second homes unless you've got a way to capture those for our workforce. And that's the number one thing if we're going to stay a functioning, working community.
Carl's right. The biggest problem I think we have right now is affordable housing for those people that are essential to the city itself, and that is teachers, your hospital workers, your fire and police, those type of people. They need to be housed close to where they work. I believe that recently we had a housing study, and the housing study came out with several recommendations that the Planning Commission, we've been working hard on trying to implement those recommendations. We just passed a plan development code change, which I believe is going to help incentivize developers to build smaller and less expensive housing. We're trying with other code changes to look at, the city of Leavenworth itself is quite small. It's only a 1.5 square mile, and it's really the best way to increase housing inventory is through density, and we're working on those changes to increase the incentive to have more units in our housing development. So I think that's a really good start on helping get to that point where we have more housing for those people that are in the middle, what they call the missing middle, the people that are in the middle that need housing to be able to live in our great community.
And a major tourist attraction is planned for the west end of town, the Leavenworth Adventure Park. Carl, from your perspective, is the Adventure Park a project that can work for Leavenworth?
I wasn't for the project, I'll be open. Not where it is, because it is right there as the entryway, and again, you want to add to a bottleneck. I'm not against amusement. I'm not against enjoying some of those things. I think its location was not an appropriate one. I understand that with the zoning and things, I don't know how that is all going to shake out. But I do think, quite frankly, I mean, Leavenworth has been very successful at tourism. But you know, there's a word that's going around in a lot of places, Hawaii to places in the Rockies, some of those ski areas and things, and other places. There's a term that's called over-tourism. And I think, you know, Leavenworth has to just say not everything and anything goes. We can't just keep growing this exponentially, that there comes a time when you just, you've got to refocus. And that's where I think really we've got to focus now. The economic engine, we've got it revved up and it's running. I think it's time to turn that attention now to the residential and really refocus.
I think it can work. I think that it's going to provide something additional to town that we really don't have a whole lot of at this time. I remember many times coming when I had left Leavenworth and living elsewhere, coming home to visit. And one of the things that I had a tough time with was my children and family. It was tough to find something for them to do, other than, you know, we could always go to the river or swimming pool or something like that, but other things that would excite the kids and excite the family. I think this is something that's going to help that. I also think that I read the arbitrator's report, I read the CEPA reviews, I've read the city staff report, and all of those things, it appears to me that there will be a traffic impact, but albeit a fairly small one. As far as parking goes, the developers have bent over backwards to provide even more parking than is required by the codes. I think it's going to improve the look of that end of the town. I don't believe that it's going to be a major impact on the downtown area. I think that a lot of people are going to be walking. So I think it's going to improve, maybe be an improvement to that area. Also, it's been stipulated that within a year's time, the city can review the whole thing and check it again. And if things aren't working, we can make tweaks on it to find the problems and address those problems.
At Local Myth Pizza, we believe in real food, freshly prepared with only premium ingredients. Our cheeses are imported from Italy. Our sauces, dressings, and even our sausages are in-house fresh daily. Featuring Northwest craft beers and 30 Chelan Valley wines and ciders. Family fun and amazing food. Eat local, drink local, and be local at Local Myth Pizza.
Come see why Sunset Magazine says you can't beat Local Myth Pizza.
Some jobs are a calling. They take passion and a devotion to the community. They're here for your kids, guiding the next generation of leaders. At Giza Credit Union, we help you support local teachers, Every purchase you make with a Gisa Local Heroes Affinity debit card, we make a donation to select teacher organizations. After all, we can never repay them, but we can do our best to help a little. With the Gisa Teachers Affinity debit card.
Being able to support yourself and your family is an important part of who we are. We all need to know we're able to provide ourselves with a secure future. Some job seekers have a harder time finding work. That's why Goodwill's Employment Connection Center is here, a free walk-in job search assistance program designed to help people find work. When you shop at or donate to Goodwill, you're really being a job creator, and that's a good thing for everyone's future. Goodwill. There's more behind the store.
I'm Tom from Alpine Air Heating and Cooling. At Alpine Air, we think of ourselves as customer service-oriented retailers. When you make an appointment, please visit our store, meet our people, see our shop. We are serious about heating and air conditioning. Carrier and Alpine Air are offering huge factory rebates and financing options for all your needs. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Alpine Air. Call for your free replacement estimate. Heat and air, call Alpine Air, 662-6846.
Coming home should never be a chore. Let Merry Maids of Wenatchee customize all your cleaning needs. Weekly, bi-weekly, special occasion. Do you have a vacation home that needs cleaning? We clean them too. Locally owned and operated, let Merry Maids do the cleaning while you focus on your family and friends. Merry Maids has special offers to fit your budget. Request your free cleaning estimate today, 509-663-1710.
Push it, throw it, scrape it. Show the snow who's boss with versatile, durable, and maneuverable Bobcat compact equipment. Bobcat has the industry's largest selection of snow handling equipment and attachments. Cut through snow and ice fast, all from the comfort of a warm cab. Bobcat compact equipment, one tough animal.
Rose Tractor, quality brands you can trust year after year.
Wow, pretty cool footage there from our cross camera. We still got some colors at their peak here in the Wenatchee Valley. It's very cool. We're up to 25 degrees. We were down to 22 degrees at one point during Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We're starting the warming process. It's not going to be very warm. Who's kidding who? Forecast details are coming up, but we want to take you around the valley one more time since now the sun is up, and it's been up for about 15 minutes now. There you go, courtesy of Localtel's Sky-Fi high-speed wireless setup. Look at all the colors, especially in the Wenatchee Valley. Oh, it just looks like October, doesn't it? But I think we're almost done with the peak color of the leaves down here in the valley. Obviously, in many locations, they peaked out a good week ago or 10 days ago. I'm talking about Leavenworth and some of the other areas, but not here, not yet. But we're pretty much done with that with these very cool temperatures. Great view from our cross cam at the very edge of Wenatchee Heights, looking over the Wenatchee Valley proper on this Tuesday. Camera number 2. We're taking a look-see at, that's right, are we recycling the same cameras from this morning, Megan? Oh, Jump Off Ridge is what we're looking at, kind of over to where the Wells fire broke out last night near Wall Street. We'll give you the latest on that, by the way, in just a couple of minutes. Jump Off Ridge. There's the Columbia River down there. Rock on it in East Wenatchee, way off in the distance. By the way, the most recent PTZ footage that we got from our Rock Island camera proper that we use quite often, we didn't see anything. It looked like the fire was completely eradicated. Camera number 3 is a view from Steins, again looking to the west towards the Dryden-Peshastin area. Gorgeous view there. The sun's coming up. It's cold though, and it's going to be chilly all day today and tonight especially. They're also a little worried about some air inversion. Some dirty air could become a bit of an issue by the back half of the week. Good morning to our friends in Dryden, Peshastin, and all places to the west. And finally, camera 4. We're back to Blag Mountain, and that is snow. I couldn't quite tell if that was snow earlier today. It wasn't bright enough. Now I can definitely tell you there's some snow at the top of Blag Mountain, and we're overlooking the city of Leavenworth. And I hope you enjoyed the interview that Jefferson Robbins did with Scott Bradshaw and Carl Florea. Tomorrow, by the way, on Wednesday's edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, it's for you folks in East Wenatchee. Jerry Lee Crawford and Tim Dietering are running for mayor East Wenatchee is going to have their first new mayor in 23 years, Steve Lacey, hanging up the spurs there. That'll be the conversation we'll see tomorrow on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. And while we have a minute, we do want to give you the latest on the fire from last night. As you know, crews from multiple agencies fought this fire. This is incredible footage that our good friend Eric Grandstrom got from the 1100 block of Wells Street looking down a ravine. Some level 1 evacuation notices in the area were sent out. The first call for the fire came out at 6:11 last night. The fire starting near South Wells Street and 8th Street Southeast. That's just above Pear Lane. No injuries have been reported, but we do have confirmation that a structure was lost, a barn on Webb Place, which housed, apparently an automobile was lost in the barn fire, also a pop-up trailer, and about 40 chickens were also killed that were being held in that barn. Officials believe that the fire may have started after the remains of an orchard burn were ignited by yesterday's strong winds. We had very strong winds yesterday. Between 6:50 and 8:15 last night, winds out of the northeast were blowing at a consistent 30 to 35 miles an hour, and there were gusts at times near 50 miles an hour that was whipping that fire up pretty consistently and pretty dramatically. Crews from Douglas County Fire Districts numbers 2, 3, and 4, Chelan County Fire Districts number 1 and 6, and the Cashmere Fire Department all responded to that fire. Also, Chelan County Fire District number 1 responded to a brush fire at milepost 7 on the Malaga-Alcoa Highway. That was at about 7:45 last night. We do not know if those two fires were related. We'll have more on this fire with the news. Beth Grant Olson tonight at 5 o'clock. But again, from the last that we saw from a Rock Island PTC camera, it doesn't look like there's any issues at all anymore with that fire. But it was a very dramatic and very tense 2.5, 3 hours last night for those folks in the East Wenatchee area in the path of the flames. All right, let's take a look at your weather forecast from the National Weather Service. Very cold temperatures expected today, again tonight. Look at the overnight low tonight. 20, that's it. That 41 that you see for the afternoon high, that's about 13, 14 degrees below normal. Even though we do have a gradual warming trend, highs will still be below normal on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday before we get back up to normal on Saturday and Sunday. Look at the overnight lows, 20 degrees, 25 degrees, 28 degrees. That Arctic front that passed through has now exited the area, and now we have a high pressure ridge that has already been set up and in position, and that is trapping that Arctic air right down here on the valley surface, and something that we're used to if you've spent any amount of time here in the Wenatchee Valley. When we have a high pressure ridge and it's cold, and that cold air gets trapped now down near the valley floor, the pollutants have no place to go. So they're a little worried that we may have an air inversion problem. We may get some dirty air by the end of the week. Since the lid will be on, there'll be no place for the carbon monoxide and wood stoves and what have you. There'll be no place for that smoke and that gunky stuff to go. It'll be trapped here on the valley floor. Don't know about it yet, but they're certainly keeping a close eye on that. So that is your weather forecast from the National Weather Service. Again, tomorrow, Jerry Lee Crawford and Tim Dietering running for mayor of East Wenatchee. That'll be the conversation portion, provided the show isn't canceled. Till then, bye-bye.